let me kind of set the plate really quick. All right. The topic today that we're talking about, right? The topic that we're talking about today is how to get an endless supply of shipper leads and referrals. And I'm just going to come out and tell you exactly what the strategy is. Basically, what it comes down to, the strategy that you need to understand and develop is what's called an ambassador or referral program. Sometimes it's referred to as an ambassador program. Sometimes it's referred to as a referral program. But ultimately, it's the same thing, right? So what it is you create this program that pays, compensates drivers, dispatchers, your current shipping clients, anybody and everybody who might know a potential shipper, and you compensate them, you pay them based upon a referral that converts into a client. So it's a referral program, right? It's an ambassador referral program. But before we dive into how to do that, I want to first share some stats with you that I think might open your eyes a little bit, all right, about referral marketing. So here are there are tons of stats, but here are 4 referral marketing stats that you definitely need to know. The first one is this: 84% of B2B, which is business to business sales, decision makers start the buying process with a referral. 84% of buyers in the B2B realm, when they are a business buying from a business, which is what freight brokerage is, right? You're a freight broker, you're a business, and they're a shipper, they're a business. B2B, 84% of B2B decision makers start the buying process with a referral. That's huge, okay? So referrals, we all know how powerful referrals are. The second stat, 82% of sales leads say that referrals are the key to success, okay? So sales leads, 82% of actual sales leads say that referrals are the key to success. Number 3, 75% of sales leads say referrals have a higher conversion rate. Okay? So 75% of sales leads say that referrals have a higher conversion rate. And 70% of sales leaders say referrals close faster. Now, I could have given you dozens of stats, right? But I didn't want to bore you with the details. I just wanted to share those 4 because I think those 4 paint a very important picture that you need to understand about this ambassador/referral program that I'm talking about. So let me explain to you kind of how this thing works. So the way you create a referral or ambassador program is very simple. You have to decide, number 1, that you're going to have the program. Number 2, you have to decide how are you going to compensate the people that give you referrals. All right. So first, let me say what a referral is. A referral is someone that gives you an email or a phone personal introduction. So they actually know the person. They actually know the person, and they provide a custom email or a phone introduction to that potential shipper. So it's not saying, hey, I know this manufacturer in Buffalo. Here's the company name and phone number. Call them, and if you get it, send me money. That's not how a referral program works. There has to be a personal relationship between the referrer and the referral, right? So the person that you're going to be contacting is a potential customer. So there has to be that relationship, okay? We don't pay for leads, we pay for referrals, all right? So that's number 1. You need to understand what a referral is. The second thing is you have to figure out how are you going to compensate the person who referred the prospect to you. How are you going to compensate them? You're not going to compensate them based upon the referral. You're only going to compensate them if that referral converts into a paying customer. That's how referral programs work. Again, we don't pay for referrals. We don't pay for leads. We actually pay for customers. So you get a referral. That referral then converts into a customer, gives you a load. You move that load. They are now a customer. And then that customer, you need to pay the referral based upon the success of acquiring that customer. So it's basically a customer acquisition cost, but you only pay the cost when the customer converts. So you're not paying for leads. I hope I'm clear about that. It's really important that you understand that. You're not paying for a referral. You're only really paying for a referral that converts into a customer. All right. So there's a couple of strategies. There's a million different ways you can pay people for referrals. There's a couple of strategies I'm going to suggest to you. One is you can pay a fixed fee for any referral that converts into a customer. So for example, if you referred me a potential shipper and then I spoke to that shipper and then that shipper converted into a customer where they moved their first load, you might pay that referral $100. So that's an example of what you might pay. You may go on to say, okay, if they move 5 more loads, I'll pay $400. If they move, 10 loads, I'll pay X. But ultimately, it's a fixed fee based upon the success of converting that referral into a customer. Now, I'm going to warn you, here's something really important that you need to understand. Don't be cheap when it comes to paying for referrals, okay? We all know that referrals are, statistically speaking, and anybody who's been in sales, referrals are the key to converting leads into sales quickly. And the way to get in contact with some of the best prospects in your niche are through referrals. And so ultimately, don't be cheap, because if you look at the lifetime, what I want you to think about when you're creating this referral programs, I want you to think about the lifetime value of that client. I don't want you to think about how much you'll make on 1 load or 2 loads or 5 loads. I want you to think about the lifetime value of that client. So let's do some quick and simple math, right? If the referral turned out to just be a small shipper, and that shipper you were able to move 1 load per week, and let's say it was a full truckload, and the average value of that full truckload was $1,500, which is pretty reasonable for full truckload, right? So if they did 1 load per week at $1,500 and you were making 15% profit on that, I'm not very good at math, so let me pull up the calculator, but ultimately, if you've got 52 loads, which is 1 load a week, times 1,500, that equals $78,000. At a 15% profit margin, that equals $11,700 in profit for you as a broker. Okay? So if it turns out to be nothing more than a small shipper that does 1 load per week, 1 full truckload per week, you're talking about almost the value in the first year is about $12,000. Now, what if you had that client for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years? Okay. It could be 2, 3, 5, 10 times as much, depending upon if their freight grows and the length of time you have that client. So when you pay for referrals, I want you to understand and heed this warning. Don't be cheap. For you to pay $100 for a referral that converts into a client that's going to potentially generate tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for your business is cheap. And this is how most people think. And this is the reason why referral programs don't work in most cases, because you're not truly motivating the referrer to give you a good referral, right? You're not giving them the motivation. So when I did it, whenever I do any sort of a referral program, I pay them really, really well because I want the referrals and I understand the power of referrals. I understand how much easier it is to convert them. And I understand that I only pay if they actually convert into clients. So I regress here, but part 1 was, number 1, you have to decide if you're going to have a referral program. Number 2, you have to decide how you're going to compensate them. You're either going to compensate them maybe with a fixed dollar amount per load or per customer, or based on some sort of a range. The second way you can do it is to pay a percentage of revenue or a percentage of profit. I've done both. So for example, for a long time, the way I used to teach my agents to do this was to pay a 5% of profit referral fee for the life of the customer. So let's do the math, right? So 5% of profit. So if we had that same customer that did $11,700 in profit. Remember that small customer that you acquired that did $11,700 in profit per year. If you paid a 5% referral fee on that, that's $585 per year that person is going to get paid for that referral. Now, why would you continue to pay them over time? Number one, you want to get more referrals, and the more valuable the referral is to them, the more likely they are to refer them to you. Number two, if there's any sort of an issue or challenge, you always can call them in, have them go to bat for you and help to resolve any sort of issues. And having that ongoing relationship with that person can definitely be beneficial to retain those clients long-term. So I don't mind paying $585 per year for a client that's generating almost $12,000 in profit, and neither should you. So that's an example where you might pay 5% of profit. Now you can also pay a percentage of revenue, right? So in some cases, the referrer isn't going to want to necessarily get into the math of what the profit is, because maybe maybe they don't fully trust that you're going to give them the real numbers as far as profit. So what you would do in that case, and even for your own benefit, maybe you don't want to disclose the profit numbers. In either case, what you would do is you would pay them a percentage of the gross. So let's go back through that scenario. One load a week at $1,500. That's $78,000 a year in revenue. That's gross revenue. So if you were to pay, let's just say 0.5% profit, right? If you were to pay 0.5% or 1%, 0.5% would be $390, and 1% would be what? 15 times 52. That's 78,000 times 1%. That would be $780 for that one referral per year, right? So the key is you can pay them based on profit, a percentage of profit, or you can pay them a percentage of the gross revenue. Either way is fine, but you have to define it, right? So once you decide how you're going to pay them, the last and final step is you have to let everybody know that you have a referral program, right? So my suggestion is you'd put together like a one-page summary of how the referral program would work, right? How they're supposed to submit a referral to you, what qualifies as a referral, and how they will be compensated. And at that point, you can distribute that to people through email, through your social media, through personal contact. You can print them out. You can give them to drivers. You can give them to whatever you want to do, but you can start creating a supply of inbound referrals. So let's say, for example, you have, you send this to 100 drivers over the next 30 to 60 days. And you're willing to pay a good referral, right? Let's say you're willing to pay 1% of revenue, right? That would be on that shipper example was $780 a year. You explain that to a driver that you're willing to pay almost, $780 a year on an average shipper, right? And here's how it works: 1% of the revenue. I promise you, they're going to be highly motivated the next time they land on a dock, wherever, they know a shipper where they've been there before and they've developed a relationship with the guys on the dock or the shipping manager, or maybe they've done business direct in the past with that shipper. Any way that they can provide you a referral that's not going to take money out of their pocket, but is going to add money to their pocket, and you remind them of that and you make it easy for them to give you a referral, I promise you, you're going to start seeing an influx of referrals. Now, here's what won't work. You decide to put a referral program together and then you never tell anybody about it and you keep it a secret, right? Or you tell 3 people and then nobody responds to it. This has got to be an ongoing marketing effort. This isn't a one-time effort. This is ongoing, which means every new carrier that you do business with, you should introduce this referral program to. Every new driver, every new dispatcher, every new carrier, every new shipper, right? Everybody that you talk to that has a potential prospect in this industry should know about your referral program. That way, you're going to start getting a steady supply and a consistent supply of inbound leads. I promise you, this works so well if you put it to work. But if you sit here and you just listen and you contemplate and you debate and you don't put it to work, I promise you, you're not going to get any referrals, right? And that's okay. If you choose not to do that, that's fine. But ultimately, I want you to understand the power of referrals, right? Let's go back through those stats really quick. Remember, so ultimately we understand the power of referrals and we understand the importance of referrals. So that's how you can create an endless supply of shipper leads and referrals. Number one, understand what a referral program is, which is what I just defined for you. Number two, define exactly how you're going to pay for referrals. And then number three is let everybody you know that could potentially provide you a referral, including drivers, dispatchers, shippers, and receivers, anybody and everybody in between, that you offer a referral program and how it works. You lay out a one-page simple referral program, you share it with them, and then you start generating referrals. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. But ultimately, that's how you're able to generate inbound leads. Pay close attention, guys. Listen up really quick. If you want a one-page cheat sheet, this cheat sheet right here, which summarizes the entire training that I just went through, if you want a cheat sheet, which is a one-page summary of what we just went through, the entire program, which will give you a roadmap on exactly what you need to do, type in the chat box, cheat sheet. Just put it in the chat box, say cheat sheet, in all caps. And what I'll do is later, I'll send you a link where you can download this one-page cheat sheet, and then that will give you the summary, right? And that'll make it a lot easier for you to develop your own referral program, okay? So I hope that helps. So make sure you type in the chat box, you type cheat sheet if you want a copy of the cheat sheet, which is that one-page summary that I just told you about. But before I go, if you're curious about becoming a freight broker or freight agent, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I offer a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. Plus, I have new options, membership options where you can get a lifetime membership with lifetime access and lifetime support for your business, right? So check that out. Again, we've been in business for over a decade. We've trained over 8,000 students now. And we have a really super low refund rate, but if you have any questions or you're not happy in any way, we'll just issue a refund. We want everybody to be happy. Okay. So you definitely want to check that out. All right. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're curious about getting started as a freight broker, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Make sure if you want a copy of the cheat sheet that you type cheat sheet into the comments below. And then later on today or tomorrow, I'll send you a link where you can download that cheat sheet. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk soon.